plausible as anything else, it seems to me.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable what's been happening. And Mika, we've talked about this being the central mystery of the Trump presidency from the very beginning, that he is a day trader, and that he has steadfastly refused from the middle of the campaign to do anything that will get him to 50%. He's the only, you're looking right now at the only president in modern history who has never hit 50% in the polls. And the reason he has never hit 50% in the polls, Mika, is because he has chosen not to. Yeah. He has chosen to continue to play small ball and be as divisive as any other president. And again, yes, we can sit here and talk about how it's bad for constitutional norms. We can sit here and talk about how it's bad for American democracy. But at the end of the day, for him personally, it's bad for his own presidency and political brand when he could make choices that get him into the mid-40s, maybe even up to 50%.
Well, and let's not underestimate the lying and the day trading and the manipulating of the truth and the implications it has on this country. You know, we can't be dour 24 hours a day, but I feel it every time I watch the news or read the paper and listen to the way he is acting, Kellyanne Conway, Sarah Sanders, everyone in this administration who shills for this president, acts like lackeys for this president, lies for this president. This is not normal. And, you know, my daughters this is the first presidency that they're really witnessing firsthand. This is horrendous, and it is bad. And the president's lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, he went on TV continuing to manipulate the truth, arguing that, you know, talking to the Russians and that whole thing, no big deal. Take a look.
The Russian government interfered in the 2016 presidential election in sweeping and systemic fashion. Do you and the president accept that as a fact from this report?
We do. Why? There's no reason not to accept it.
And the president accepts it as well?
I'm sure he does.
So it is now okay for political campaigns to work with material stolen by foreign adversaries?
Well, it depends on the stolen material. There's nothing wrong with taking information from Russians.
There's nothing wrong with taking information.
It depends on where it came from. It depends on where it came from. You're assuming that the giving of information is a campaign contribution. You read the report carefully. Mm-hmm. The report says we can't conclude that because the law is pretty much against that. People get information from this person, that person?
So you would have accepted information from Russians against a client, against a candidate if you were running in the presidential election?
I probably wouldn't. I wasn't asked. I would have advised just out of excess of caution, don't do it. I'll give you another thing.
But you're saying there was nothing wrong with doing that. There's
no crime.
I'm not talking about crime. I'm talking about.
We're going to get into morality?
Yeah.
Well, that isn't what prosecutors look at, morality.
So Admiral.
Thanks, Rudy.
I could just ask you the straight question. What you think about one of the president's top advisors saying it's okay to get stolen material from Russia, the Russia hacking it. But this actually, for Republicans, this sets the precedent. They are now saying it's okay for Bernie Sanders, if Bernie Sanders decided to get stolen material and from China about Mike Pence, that would be okay if Donald Trump didn't run in 2020, or Elizabeth Warren getting stolen material from the Iranians who hacked all of Nikki Haley's phones and hacked all of Nikki Haley's campaign. It would be okay for the Democrats and Elizabeth Warren to get hacked material from the Iranians and use it in an election. This is bizarre, is it not? There is no justification for that. Is there? What national security concerns does this raise for you?
Well, let me start by kind of going all John Meacham. If he's going to raise the specter of Macbeth, you have to pull the proximate line out of it that life's but a tale full of sound and fury, told by an idiot, signifying nothing. We feel as though we're sort of arriving at that point. And here's the national security concern, Joe, is this idea that it's okay. And, not everything has to rise to a level of criminal behavior before it starts to threaten our national security. Another way to put that is, if this is not against the law, we ought to pass a law to make sure that it doesn't happen, although we shouldn't have to do that. So the question is, what should we be doing in the wake of the Mueller report, in addition to the political questions that you unpackaged so well here? We ought to be doing reveal, which is showing the world what happened and how we were attacked in even more detail than it is in that report. Second, we ought to be reforming our defensive ability to push this back in the social networks, hardening our electoral system. And lastly, and most controversially, Joe, we ought to be thinking about retaliate. What are the sanctions we ought to place on Russia? Now that we've seen the full spectrum here, this is a striking moment of national security. We need to be doing all of those things if we're going to avoid a repeat of this going forward.
And we found out even in Florida that the Russians were able to hack into some election in our home state. A supervisor of election reported some hacking in the swing state, vital state of Florida. Jonathan Lemire, let's get to your reporting. First, of course, we do need to talk about the miracle that happens on Easter weekend.